So the next speaker will be Michael Davis. He's with the Office of Intergovernmental Affairs, U.S. EPA Region 7 in Lenexa, Kansas. Michael?
Hey everybody, nice to be here. Please feel free to call me Mike. Only my mama calls me Michael, and it's usually when I'm in big, deep trouble. And hey, it's great to be back in Fairfield. For those of you that are local, I don't know if you happen to recall the Fairfield Coal Gasification Superfund site. It was down on 7th Street. Actually had an opportunity to do work on that site, doing some air monitoring and testing to help assure the safety of the citizens that lived near that location. There were residences that were very, very close by. That site's since been cleaned up. It's great news and has been repurposed into a electrical substation. So credit to the Superfund program for getting that done. Oh, thank you. It's a rare day when EPA gets applause. But anyway, I do want to spend some time with you to talk about our funding opportunities that are available with a real focus on rural America. We're finding that we have all these dollars that are available, but accessibility to those dollars, especially in a rural setting, can be very, very challenging. I mean, many of our communities have very small government infrastructure. They don't have grant writers. They don't necessarily have the resources available to them to compete effectively for these dollars. And so I'm going to focus more on the assistance opportunities that are available to you through EPA under a variety of different programs. So if I catch your attention, feel free to visit with me afterwards. I'll be hanging around across the way. So most importantly, who qualifies? Nonprofits, school districts, your regional planning organizations, and of course, government agencies. And probably the most important line here is the bottom one, that each of these programs have specific requirements, whether it's a water program, clean school bus program, environmental justice program. Every single one has different requirements, if you will. But we do have people that are specialists that can help you. And I do all have those points of contact included in my presentation. You may not be able to read them today, but please do access these presentations on the Sierra Club's webpage, because I have active links to those organizations so that you can just click right through to get to the information that you're looking for. I know this is small. If you don't pay attention to anything else I say, this is the key to the kingdom for EPA. This is the website where all of our funding opportunities are being posted. This is updated on a weekly basis, so it will change frequently as new notifications of funding opportunities become available. So if you're interested in working with EPA, this is a key site for you. So let's talk about clean school bus and diesel emission reduction opportunities. Your eligible applicants, of course, are those state and local organizations that have jurisdiction over transportation air quality, and specifically school districts that are interested in retrofitting or replacing their combustion engined school buses. So the eligible projects include school buses, but also under the Diesel Emission Reduction Act, you have heavy-duty vehicles, locomotive and marine engines, and your non-road engines and equipment. So the funding is available through both grants and rebate programs, and I'll talk about the difference between grants and rebates. But once again, these web links are very important to you for additional information. So what's the difference between a grant and a rebate? The big difference is, at least for the school bus program, are the number of buses that are intended to be funded. Grant programs typically are for school districts that are looking to replace 25 or more school buses. The rebate programs are for school districts that are looking to replace up to 25 buses. The big difference is the rebate program provides more funding on a per unit basis, if you will, than the grant program. So it can be a little bit of a better deal for you. But the rebate program is also non-competitive, which means that basically there's a large list of school districts who applied. Actually, in the first rebate program, we had over 4,000 school districts apply for funding, and unfortunately there was just not enough money to fund all of those requests. The requests totaled almost $4 billion. Initially we had 400 million set aside, and that was increased to $962 million, almost $1 billion in that first round of school bus rebates. So the message is that if you applied in the first round, didn't get selected, please do apply again. There will be a second rebate program opportunity available this fall. We just announced our first grant program Monday of this week, as a matter of fact. So that notice is on the web and available to you as we speak. But there will be a second opportunity for rebates later this fall. Environmental justice. This is a relatively new topic for us, and you hear a lot about environmental justice, and you're going to be hearing more about environmental justice within the scope of Environmental Protection Agency. The definition you can read as well as I can, but it's the fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all people, regardless of race, color, national origin, or income. And so it's a very important program for us in Region 7, and it's also affecting how funds are being distributed. I believe one of the earlier presenters talked about the Biden administration's Justice 40 initiative, where 40% of the benefit from these programs go to disadvantaged and underserved communities. So let's talk about how to get help. This was just awarded in April 13th of this year. The Thriving Communities Technical Assistance Centers, Wichita State University was awarded for Region 7. This is a wonderful thing and a wonderful resource for your smaller communities because it provides the technical assistance and capacity building support for your communities and your partners to access these federal resources. Grant writing is not easy. And we don't make the process hard on purpose, but we have our rules and laws that we have to follow, and unfortunately it can be an onerous task, especially for smaller communities. So we have these technical assistance centers that we are standing up across all 10 regions, and ours is going to be in Wichita State. In addition, we're moving the leverage of dollars out of EPA into large nonprofit organizations under these grant-making opportunities. Over $50 million per organization is going to be available over the next 3 years for small disadvantaged communities to be able to compete for and access funding in a non-traditional way, beyond the normal federal grant writing process. This is information for how to keep in touch with our environmental justice program. Please reach out. We've got staff that are dedicated to these topics and are prepared and ready to provide assistance to you. Brownfields and land revitalization. A little bit different, not necessarily directly related to the Inflation Reduction Act, but we have invested in an additional $1.5 billion in brownfields revitalization. You may be asking, what is brownfields? Well, if you're familiar with a facility that may be sitting on a land of property that has been vacant for a number of years, that could potentially have an environmental aspect related to it, that would very likely qualify for brownfield assistance. And there are a large number of resources available to you to get involved, not only with the landowner, but also within your community to focus on the cleanup and revitalization of these pieces of property. One of the opportunities also is our job training grants. This is an example of the work that was going on in the city of Springfield. 194 participants started, 174 graduated. 113 green jobs were generated from this particular program, so highly successful. Thank you, 5 minutes. More assistance, but the bottom line is we've got program people that are prepared and ready to work with you directly to get these properties cleaned up and revitalized. One final advertisement, we have technical assistance to Brownfield Communities agreement with Kansas State University. Once again, free, no cost technical assistance to your communities to get these properties revitalized and put back into meaningful service. These are your points of contact. Please refer to the slides. And finally, just a brief advertisement for our water program. We're putting nationwide $50 billion into water resources. And in Region 7 alone, we're finding that half of our communities are small communities that are a population of 425 or less that have both water treatment facilities and wastewater treatment facilities. And so it's, needless to say, it's a big issue. And so we're working diligently with our state programs to get those funding resources out to those disadvantaged communities. So this is a breakout of how those funds are being spent. $15 billion for lead service lines, 11.7 for drinking water, $4 billion for emerging contaminants, which are new contaminants that we're finding that could be affecting our drinking water quality. 11.7 for wastewater revitalization, and an additional $1 billion for emerging contaminants and wastewater resources. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to visit with me. We can talk about the partnership with the state of Iowa and their state revolving fund and how your communities can access these dollars. That's me. Feel free to reach out, send me an email, and love to connect with you. Thank you for your time.